After completing my 10th class exams in 1979, my father suggested that I go and help my father's uncle and learn astrology. Mathematics being my favorite subject, I learned the calculations. My grandfather taught me how to calculate the inclinations of each planet and how to calculate the Lagna and the meridian center MC, and he gave me some birth charts to draw. Thus, I learned how to draw the birth charts first and showed interest in predictions. So my grandfather told me some predictions, some of the tips that he usually uses for predictions, and after learning those tips I documented some of them. I verified with my father. While my father and my grandfather have laid the foundation for me to get interested in astrology, for almost a decade or 2 decades, I didn't show any interest. Welcome to Sastry Karra's astrological series. There are a number of reasons for a native to have a delayed marriage. In this series called Vivah Vilamb, I'm going to take some of the rules and explain the astrological reasons for those rules, why there is a delay in a marriage for that particular native. Vivah Vilamb, in Sanskrit, Vivah means marriage, Vilamb means some sort of a delay. So the first rule that I am going to explain is about Saturn, about for the Rashi being Leo or Cancer. If Leo or Cancer is the Rashi Lagna, then Saturn will be the Lord of the 7th house. When Saturn is the Lord of the 7th house and it is residing in one of the DUSHATANA houses, that means the unfavorable houses, which is 2nd, 6th, 8th and 12th. Unfavorable houses from Rashi Lagna and Chandra Lagna. Here this is something important that we need to keep in mind, is that natal Saturn must be in one of the unfavorable houses when looked from both Rashi Lagna and Chandra Lagna, and Saturn is the 7th house lord and the Lagna is either Leo or Cancer. When this condition is satisfied, then there is a high possibility for the native to have a delay in marriage. Now that you have seen the rule, let's see how to evaluate this rule using the decision flow. So first what you do is that step number 1, you check the native Rashi Lagna. Once you check the native Rashi Lagna, go and check, figure it out, is that Rashi Lagna Cancer or Leo. That is in step number 2, which is a decision. So at this point your answer will be yes or no. If the Lagna is a Cancer or a Leo, then you go to step number 3, where you check the natal Saturn position from Rashi Lagna. Once you know what is the natal Saturn position from Rashi Lagna, you go and check whether is that where the natal Saturn is residing, is that house a DUSHATANA house. This is another decision table, which is step number 4. Once you know that that Saturn from Rashi Lagna is in a DUSHATANA house, then you go to step number 5, where you check natal Saturn position from Natal Moon. That is step number 5. There you find out is that the house are again a DUSHATANA house. If it is yes, that means natal Saturn is in a DUSHATANA house both from Rashi Lagna and Chandra Lagna, which means that the rule has passed. If it's no for any of the situation, like in step number 2, step number 4 or step number 6, if the answer is no, that means the rule has failed. Then you don't need to proceed anymore. This is how you have to validate the chart first before even starting your predictions. You validate the rule based on this decision flow. Let's now look at what are the possibilities for Saturn to be the 7th house lord. For Saturn to be the 7th house lord, the Rashi Lagna should be either Cancer or Leo. Okay, so when Cancer is the Rashi Lagna, then Saturn will be the lord of the 7th and 8th houses. You can see here Cancer is the Lagna, and then the 7th house is Capricorn and the 8th house is Aquarius. So when Cancer is the Lagna, Rashi Lagna, then the 2nd house is Leo and Sun is the lord of the house. 6th house is Sagittarius, Jupiter is the lord of that house. 8th house is Aquarius, Saturn is the house lord, and the 12th house is Gemini, Mercury is the house lord. So when you look at it, this, since the native that we are discussing is a female, the 6th house Jupiter and the 8th house Saturn, these two houses are very important when we are considering the reason for delay in marriage when the Lagna, Rashi Lagna is Cancer. You might ask, why are we doing that? Because Saturn is the 7th house lord, so residing in the 8th house might cause a delay in marriage. Also, Jupiter, for females, Jupiter is the Karaka for marriage. So when Jupiter is in the 6th house, when Saturn is in the 6th house owned by Jupiter, then the Karaka for marriage, the house, Jupiter's house gets spoiled, and since Saturn is the 7th house lord, there is a possibility for delay in marriage. Now with Cancer as the Lagna, let's go and see the natal Saturn residing in one of the unfavorable houses and which houses does it aspect. When you look at it, if Saturn is residing in the 2nd house from Rashi Lagna, which is Leo, then the 3rd aspect is on Libra, that is the 4th house. The 7th aspect is on Aquarius, that is the 8th house, and the 10th aspect is on Taurus, that is the 11th house. Remember here, since this is the marriage, marital Vivah Vilamb, delay in marriage, the 4th and the 11th houses are very important when it comes to the marital life. 4th is the Sukhasthanamo or home life environment, 11th is the house of desires. So, and 2nd house is the Kutumbasthanamo. So when Saturn resides in the 2nd house and Cancer is the Lagna, then it, and Saturn is the 7th house lord, then not only that it controls the 7th house, according to Bihurugu Sarala Paddhati, it controls the 2nd house also. So the 7th and 2nd houses, the crucial houses for marital life, are controlled by Saturn, and then it has an impact, affliction on the 4th and 11th houses. Now let's go and see the 6th house. If Saturn is residing in the 6th house, only the 7th aspect is on Gemini, which is the 12th house. 12th house is pleasures of bed. So the chances for this delay in marriage is very high, because Saturn is in the 6th house and its 7th direct aspect is on 12th house. Also keep in mind, Saturn is the 7th house lord. There is a rule which states that if the 6th house lord is in the 7th house or vice versa, there is a high possibility for the native to have a delay in marriage or get divorced. And that rule you can see from here. When Saturn is in the 6th house and it's spoiling the 12th house, which is the pleasures of bed, and being the 7th house lord, you can understand that either it will be a delay in marriage or getting divorced. One of those two will happen. Now let's go and look at the 8th house. If Saturn resides in the 8th house, which is its own house, the 7th aspect is on the 2nd house. Remember, Saturn, natal Saturn in the 2nd house, so it is looking at the 2nd house, and Scorpio, the 10th aspect is on Scorpio, which is the 1st house. So the 7th house lord is looking at the 2nd house and the 5th house. 2nd house is Kutumbasthanamo and 5th house is Putrasthanamo. So the 7th house lord might delay in marriage, resulting in delay in family and children. Let's go and look at the 12th house. If Saturn is in the 12th house, then the 3rd aspect is on the 2nd house. That's all. So when Saturn is in Gemini and Cancer is the Lagna, the least impact, you can see the least impact is either just a delay in marriage, and that is because of the 3rd aspect on the 2nd house. Let's now go and look at what happens when the Rashi Lagna is Leo. When Rashi Lagna is Leo, then Saturn is the lord of the 6th and 7th houses. So remember, 6th and 7th houses lord is Saturn. Now, when with Leo as the ascendant Lagna, then the 2nd house is Virgo, Mercury is the house lord, and the 6th house is Capricorn, Saturn is the house lord, 8th house is Pisces, and Jupiter is the house lord, and 12th house is Cancer, Moon is the house lord. With Leo as Rashi Lagna, the most crucial houses that needs to be considered are the 8th and the 12th. When natal Saturn is in the 8th house, then that means it is residing in the house owned by Jupiter, and for female, Jupiter is a Karaka for marriage. When natal Saturn is in Cancer, that means it is residing in the house owned by Moon, and Moon is the Matru Karaka. So these two houses are very crucial when you have the Rashi Lagna as Leo and the native is a female. Let's now look at with the Rashi Lagna as Leo and the natal Saturn residing in one of the unfavorable houses. If natal Saturn is residing in the 2nd house, that is Virgo, then its 3rd aspect is on Scorpio, which is the 4th house, and the 10th aspect is on Gemini, which is the 11th house. Remember here, the most important thing that you have to see is Saturn is the 7th house lord, residing in the 2nd house, having an impact on the 4th house and 11th houses. All these houses are important when it comes to the marital life. Okay, now when Saturn is in the 6th house, which is Capricorn, that means its own house, then its direct aspect is on the 12th house, which is Cancer. And remember, Cancer is the owner is the Moon, and Moon is the Matrukaraka. So, and when Saturn is in Pisces, that is the 8th house, then its direct aspect is on the 2nd house, and 10th aspect is on the 5th house. And 2nd house, the Kutumbasthanamu, and the 5th house, Jupiter is the owner of that house. Jupiter is a Karaka for marriage. The 12th, when Saturn is in the 12th house, the only house it impacts is the 2nd house. So when you look at it, the major, when Rashi Lagna is Leo and Saturn, and if Saturn is in the 2nd, 6th or 8th houses, that's when there's a high possibility for the native to have a delay in marriage if the native is a female. Let's go and look at the first example. This is a very famous example, and the reason is this lady, who is her name, Jennifer Flowers. She was a cabaret singer who had a 12-year affair with the ex-president Bill Clinton. The lady Jennifer Flowers was born in 1950, and according to Wikipedia, she got married in 1996. That's approximately after 45 or 40, at the age of 45 or 46. Since she got married at the age of 46, let's go and look at the Rashi chart for the reason for her delayed in marriage. According to Rashi chart, the Lagna is Cancer, and so Saturn is the lord of the 7th and 8th house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th and 8th houses. So Saturn is the lord of 7th and 8th houses, and Saturn is residing in the 2nd house, which is a unfavorable house, and the rules just suffice here saying that since the 7th house lord Saturn is residing in the 2nd house from Rashi Lagna, there should be a high possibility for the native to have a delay in marriage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And when you look at it from Chandra Lagna, with the Moon as the Lagna, the natal Saturn is in the 6th house, which is again the unfavorable house. So when Saturn is residing either in one of the unfavorable houses, whether it is from Rashi Lagna or Chandra Lagna, and is the 7th house lord, it's for sure to have a delay in marriage. And here you can see that for this native, from both Chandra Lagna and Rashi Lagna, the natal Saturn is in unfavorable house.